welcome to the Digital Signage Today podcast presented by Networld Media Group. I'm Daniel Brown, your host, editor of Digital Signage Today. We have a very special guest today. Will, do you want to introduce yourself to us?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Daniel. So I'm Will White. I am Director of Technical Workplace Experience at Appspace.
Excellent. So you're a busy guy because you guys, I've seen a lot of releases, a flurry of activity from you. You've had a very busy 2024, and I even saw you on the road at the show recently, I believe, in Vegas.
Yeah, it was good to actually catch up and chat in person there at Infocom. That was cool. And it has been busy, both me personally and kind of my role and all the things I do as part of our workplace experience kind of org or team within Appspace, but just the product and the company in general. I mean, we're moving super fast, doing a lot of exciting things. It can't stop
Well, I
talking
love
about it.
that.
Yeah.
No, I love that. Thank you for that because you're helping me win a bet or two, I think, because I predicted to a few folks, a few friends in the industry, hey, there's so much cool stuff happening in workplace communications, corporate communications. It may not seem like the craziest, biggest, sexiest area of digital signage pro AV, but there's so much happening. And so many of us spend our lives behind the desk working for various organizations. You guys had a very big partnership announced this year, I think, with, was it Microsoft? Can you tell us a little bit more about this?
Yeah, for sure. It's super exciting. We, AppSpace as a company, we've actually had a partnership in different ways with Microsoft for a while. So we've worked with them for quite some time in different parts of our platform. And AppSpace, you're going to hear me use the word platform a lot because we do a lot. Our core DNA is digital signage, which is probably what we're going to talk about mostly today. But we have a lot of different use cases. We facilitate a lot of things around like desk booking, room booking, comms, video walls, apps, and so on. So there are different aspects there where we've partnered with Microsoft in the past. 365 integrations and being embedded in Microsoft Teams and things like that. But this new announcement, super exciting because it is actually the first of its kind. It's the first time that this has happened with Microsoft. And what that is a native integration between AppSpace and Microsoft Teams Rooms, or MTR. So that's essentially AppSpace running on MTR at the software level. So when an MTR device, any MTR device, could be any manufacturer, make, model, whatever you've got deployed, whatever your favorite is, if it's running in Microsoft Teams Rooms mode, it can also be running in AppSpace mode simultaneously.
And that's one of the biggest bugaboos, I guess, with this ecosystem that people are trying to roll out, especially during and after the pandemic. People try to start saying, look, we want all of our software to work together. We want to have this sort of one channel, one to many channel communication. And nothing worked very well previously. I think there was some difficulty integrating things. They weren't running very efficiently. And you guys went to the base layer here and said, look, we're going to make it all talk to each other and make it all efficient, is what I'm hearing. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's been the app space strategy for sure for a long time, is to try to fit into your tech stack, right? Fit into the tools you already have deployed, what you want to deploy. We want to almost be invisible as far as we can be, as far as that goes. But Microsoft Teams Rooms has always been that kind of unicorn we've been chasing, right? We've integrated with other collaboration platforms and devices, for example. But Microsoft is very strict about what they allow on their platform, what they allow to integrate, especially at that platform or that software level. So working directly with them, their engineering team, their product team to build this was a great experience. And it's resulted in a really cool integration that actually goes a little bit further than some of the ones we've done in the past. And like I said, it's brand new, right? There's nothing else. There's no other digital signage or comms tool built into MTR in the same way.
Wow. Wow. And I think I saw recently some statistics. It's pretty impressive how many organizations worldwide are using the Microsoft ecosystem as well, the Microsoft Teams. I forget, I don't want to say it's somewhere around 48% or something, but it's a very high number, I believe, the most recent study. So this is affecting customers globally.
Yeah, I couldn't quote those numbers to you. It's not usually what I dig into because I like to focus on the tech
Sure.
side. That's the fun bit to me. But it is absolutely huge. I mean, I've seen that trend over the years at AppSpace, even since the shift to kind of hybrid or remote work and all the little ups and downs that has taken. Watching Microsoft Teams Rooms, watching MTR just expand and expand and expand in use. I mean, it's been impressive. And as a result, all of our customers, big and small, constantly have been asking us for it. So it's, again, like I said, it was like that unicorn. It's exciting to be able to say, yes, 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 we hear you. We're here, right? You can do it. You don't have to just wait and send Will, emails asking, is it there yet? Is it there yet? Right.
You heard it here first. Don't send Will any more of those emails. It's here. The unicorn is here. And being treated humanely. We're not going to kill the unicorn. We all saw Harry Potter. You don't do that.
That's right. That's right.
So this is great. So what I get is, and what I enjoy about chatting with you is far beyond these strategic victories for your organization. You seem to be fueled by this passion as an individual to create an amazing user experience for each individual. So it's not just about making cool tech. It's making cool tech that actually puts a smile on people's faces and makes their day easier. What are some of the ways where this new software rollout ties into this vision of helping an actual employee do their job?
Yeah, no, great question. And that's why I have the title I have. It's why I'm in the kind of the team that I'm in Appspace, is to try to think about that. Because if you're not thinking about that employee experience, that workplace experience, what's the point? If I try to tell a non-techie friend what I do for a living, their eyes glaze over. But if I talk about that experience, then they start to get it, because everybody can relate. So I think what's really critical here is just expanding the reach of engagement and comms in a way that just wasn't necessarily possible before. We obviously at Appspace and all the other, there are plenty of digital signage platforms out there, right? A lot of companies, a lot of institutions, maybe higher ed orgs, right? Whoever have deployed digital signage traditionally. That's nothing new. But the reach, going back to that market, kind of explosion we were talking about, I think is what's critical here. It's more screens, it's more avenues to foster engagement, and it's fostering engagement in an environment where it normally doesn't happen. If you have a digital sign in a hallway, that's very useful when you're maybe moving between meetings. But if you're sitting in a meeting room, sitting in a collab space or something like that, you're not getting that communication. And a lot of times, if you're like me, you wrap a call and then you've got like 20 minutes of, homework to prep. So you're sitting in that same room maybe, and you can actually see that information. And so kind of taking it to that next level, being able to foster engagement there, I think really can help pull people in. And that could be, of course, the traditional kind of corporate communication, right? What do we need to know? What does HR need to tell us? What does the exec team need to tell us? But also fostering some more, what I like to think of as horizontal, or almost like kind of round trip engagement or communication. And that's maybe content that's fed in from, say, a tool like SharePoint, or maybe it's content fed from our app or Microsoft Teams. Maybe it's even live reactions to that content. So if people are really engaging in the internet or in our app, that's going to surface on the screen on that MTR device to kind of show, hey, that's getting all these likes and hearts. I should probably pay attention to it, right? Maybe I should scan the QR code and actually take a look. Or maybe we can surface other data, which is another big use case I've been talking to a lot of our enterprise kind of customers out there about, which is not just the comms, but also using it as another avenue to kind of empower employees to make decisions. So what I mean by that is maybe showing live dashboards of metrics they might need. So, okay, they're about to launch a meeting in this room. There's a dashboard with their latest sales stats or whatever's relevant, right? Or maybe it's sensor data, environmental data. This one's been huge. So a lot of companies are investing in collecting, what's the temperature, what's the air quality in my building? And historically, that's been kind of cloistered. The facilities team has that and they make it to use decisions, but that's kind of the end of it. So one use case that I've heard over and over, especially with the reach of Teams rooms, is kind of democratizing that data, right? Getting things in front of employees so they can have it, engage with it, and work the way they want to work.
I love that. I love the idea of empowering employees, and I love the idea of sort of incorporating the international. Was it the ITIL standard says you should do database decision making? Well, if you don't have the data, you can't make the decisions. And what you're doing is saying, no, here's the data. Now you can make the decisions. And another thing you said that I just love so much is the interactivity, which I think for a lot of years, digital signage in employee situations was not always very good at doing this. Mm-hmm. And you're actually engaging the community. You're building a community. And I think I'm getting the sense that larger and larger orgs are starting to realize, oh, this is a great way to get people excited in the workplace.
Yeah, I get that same sense as well, both actual conversations and just watching the market. I think it ultimately is a mix. You need that traditional communications. You need to know what your company's doing at the strategic level for sure. I want to know that because I want to be invested. I want to know where we're going. But it's that kind of direct engagement with your teammates, with your colleagues, that really kind of hooks you in, right? That makes it immediately relevant and also makes it exciting. Right? You can get excited about some big, giant strategic level company announcements, but if your team is posting about a recent win and you see it on the screen, and you can see a picture, and again, maybe you scan that code or otherwise get redirected to like the full story, and you can comment and interact, right? That's a cool experience versus just saying, hey, congrats on team A on their big win. Okay. I mean, again, important, but like taking it to that next step is what builds that camaraderie. It's what like connects people, again, versus just a passive kind of display on a wall.
Well, and I just love hearing the passion in your voice because that's what we need is passionate professionals in this space. And really, I remember working in so many industries over the years, and it was really rough when I did not feel seen, heard, valued. And it sounds like you're making software and solutions that make people feel seen, heard, and valued. And that's such a wonderful thing. And I'm curious if we faced a bit of a crisis, I think, in terms of user experience, if you will, for employees during and after the COVID pandemic era. And what I'm curious about is, can we turn that around with smart technology like this and make the workplace, dare we say, a fun place to be again by making employees feel valued and heard?
Yeah, I certainly think so. I full disclosure, I work remote most of the time. Just we made that transition when COVID hit, and I'm mostly remote because I got my home office, I got my little test bench with my equipment and stuff. But even me, my job could be done 100% remote. I love that connection. I love when I get the chance to meet in person because it's a different energy, and you end up kind of collaborating in different ways. So I think it's critical, and I think that the technology piece to enable that and foster that is, I mean, it's indispensable. And I think of a few different ways that one, Appspace is going, but I also see just the broader kind of market going. One, you might hear me say this a lot. I'm trying not to get too like marketing material on you, but one is using technology to make that actual in-office experience frictionless or more consumerized, right? I think everyone's used to things being easy in their personal life, right? If you're browsing the App Store, or maybe somebody says, hey, you got to get this app or get on this platform, this social media platform or whatever, and you download that app and you tap 2 or 3 times, and it's just like the experience is bad. You can't, like, you're having trouble logging in. Boom, app deleted. You're done. You're out, right? We don't have that choice at work. We don't have that choice at our jobs and our careers. We have to use the tools. We have to do the work. So making it as seamless as possible so that, again, the comms, the information you need is at your fingertips, whether it's on signage on a Microsoft Teams Rooms device or a bright sign or whatever else, whether it's in the app, whether it's being published to you in Slack or Teams, but also using some of those technology integrations to kind of handle some of that busy work for you. So I walk into a meeting room. I didn't bother to book it, but it was empty. It was available. I saw on the panel outside, right? I just walk in and get to work. Why don't we just automatically book that for you using some of the sensors in the room and tie that into not only your maybe 365 or calendar provider, but tie that into the signage to update that status. So, okay, yeah, it is occupied at the moment, right? All these different touch points, maybe the kiosk, maybe the flight board of all the conference rooms, however you're deploying that kind of awareness of what's available and what's not. How do we make that low effort or no effort for employees so that when they go in, they can just work, they can just sit with their teammates and catch up and tackle problems and things like that versus trying to figure out how to even get to that stage. That's what we're trying to avoid by tying all these experiences together, all these integrations. And I think that's what I see more and more every organization out there. That's what they're asking us is we have these issues, we have all these tools. Please tell us how to make it all work together.
I love that. Well, isn't that the secret to success, not just in digital signage or technology, but in business in general? How can I proactively meet your needs before you even know you have them? I think there might be a Steve Jobs quote about that somewhere. And that's what you're trying to do, make someone's life easier. And the other thing, there's a theme I'm hearing that I hope more organizations start picking up on. Don't just create a channel for your employees to speak. Listen to your employees and maybe even make some changes based on what they're saying. There's a wonderful scene, was it the scene in Schitt's Creek, my favorite show ever, where they have the comments cards and they're dumping up 5 years worth. They're like, oh, you have to give them hope. They put something in, then they feel like they're hurt, right? It's like, no, you have to listen. You have to actually listen to your employees.
1,000%. I love the Schitt's Creek reference, by the way, just to get that out of the way. Yeah, no, it's exactly that, right? It fosters engagement. There's nothing worse than feeling disconnected from your team, from your company, from the goals and the vision, all those elements. I feel like that's what can lead to that kind of disaffection or burnout so quickly, right? A heavy workload, crunch time, that can be tough. But at least for me personally, I think most folks that I talk to, you can soldier through because you know you're going to get to the light at the end of the tunnel. But if you don't know why you're going to that light at the end of the tunnel, you don't know why you're crunching and working so hard, and you don't feel like you have a voice, you don't feel like you're helping steer that ship, yeah, that is demoralizing. I've been there in past jobs. And so I think fostering that engagement, having those different levels of communication, top down, side to side, even bottom up, surfacing that, which, can always be a little bit scary for maybe the folks who, are worried about that feedback. But again, fostering that genuine communication, I think you get a lot more benefit than any kind of like worry about, oh, somebody said something negative. Well, okay, some people are negative, but you have all these people engaged. That's what's important. And every person who's engaging, even that negative person, at least they're invested. They're invested enough to leave some criticism, right? So the idea of giving those avenues, again, whether it's like team comments that you post from your mobile phone and it shows up on that digital sign, or whether it's polls and like communities and in like our app or something like that to foster that collaboration. I think it's just a different way of working versus kind of top down and then those one-to-one like Slack or Teams message conversations. I think there's a space in between that's really critical.
I love that. Dude, well, there's so much to unpack here. We're going to have you on again and again, hopefully, just to go through all of these strategies. We're getting, I think, close to time, so we'll have to cut this one short. But did you have any just major burning closing, something you want to shout to the digital signage world, lessons you've learned, or anything you want? I'm handing you the mic for a second.
Sure. So I'll do maybe two things. We already talked about it, but I'm pumped about the MTR integration, and then of course everywhere else that you can deploy Appspace for digital signage. I got to plug it. It's exciting, and it's such a seamless integration. It's one of the easiest things to deploy that I've seen that we've done on a device. So as soon as you can get your hands on it, I recommend just giving it a shot. And then as far as signage in general, the thing I always want to reiterate, and this is why I like this conversation. I love the direction you took it, Daniel, because what I bump into a lot is when I'm working with maybe a new customer and they're deploying signage for the first time, or they're overhauling their signage deployment or something like that. A lot of times people will get in the kind of mindset of thinking about the little bits and bobs, right? Okay, yeah, I need this little widget and I want the sign to look this way or whatever. When I think you're kind of getting ahead of yourself. The important thing is the strategy. Who are you trying to reach? What impact are you trying to have? Right? What's the experience? What's the message that you want your employees to take from the signage? All the design stuff, all the tech stuff, it should flow from that. And I think sometimes that gets lost. And that's something I try really hard when I work with folks to kind of take a step back, level set. Let's talk like the perfect world. Tell me your vision, right, of how you want your employees to engage and respond. And then we're going to build the tech. We're going to build the deployment to match. So that's my little strategic plug is think big picture, right? Think that engagement, and then we'll go from there.
Another secret to success, isn't it? I think, who was it? My God, I forget the old writer that said, if you have a strong enough why, the how will always take care of itself. What a great principle to kind of wind up on. I love that
I
for
love
digital
that.
signage and for life. Well, listen, I think we're at time, so we're going to have to start winding down here at the Digital Signage Today podcast. This is Daniel Brown, editor of Digital Signage Today, which is presented by Networld Media Group. We just had Will White from Appspace on talking about the power of integration and communication for your employee experience. And I have a feeling we're going to have a few more of these conversations because you've got a lot of great ideas, Will. I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah, it was great. I enjoyed it too. Thanks for having me on, Daniel. I'd be happy to be back
Absolutely.
anytime.
Absolutely.